Now, the pivotal points that we need to ponder as we go on this medium lecture is what we say is never truly new. It has either been said or written. We merely echo until it finds its unique expression. I owe most of the context in this slide to the 7th Vice Chancellor of the University of Professor Adenka, retired, and other areas where this knowledge has also integrated. Now I'm welcoming you to Madonna University with a difference. Now the lecture highlight is just on these three things: bridging the innovation gap, talking about transforming academic research into commercial success, which remains a significant challenge and requiring new approaches and support system. We also veer into the role of computational intelligence, which we know as artificial intelligence and machine learning drive. Also look at innovation of it, creating new entrepreneurial opportunities across industry. And the third one is key recommendations for success, talking about collaboration, interdisciplinary work, and industry partnership are crucial for bridging science and commercial application. Now, never before has scientific discovery moved so rapidly from theory to application, from the equations on blackboards to tools in our pocket. Those of you who grew up in the village like I did, we began carrying black slates that we use Saturday to look for charcoal to do the blackboard. And if rain is falling, no umbrella, you can look for plantain leaf or ede leaf, cocoyam leaf. That's the umbrella off to school. Now we graduated from that blackboard that we know to whiteboard, from whiteboard to smartboard. We've also moved from projectors to smart TV in this current era. Now also deviate from there to tools in our pocket that you can connect from anywhere in the world. Now from laboratory benches to global markets, that's why we are here. Now what comes to mind when you think of this innovation is what actually matters most. Yes, it's true that students are the future of this country and the future of this generation. But sometimes it also gets saddened that even lecturers are supposed to hear what we're talking about and not even around here to see. And then we'll complain what government is not doing well, but we are not also looking at what we can do in the absence of government support system. Another point to me and you need to also know is that at the center of this global transformation that we have mentioned lies the computational intelligence, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data analytics, bioinformatics, and all algorithm-driven decision-making system. I was in France for a meeting, and a white person presented on Lassa fever. And the study area she mentioned was a place called Irwa in Edo State. So I became curious. I asked her, have you been to Nigeria before? She said no. How did you get a sample from Nigeria? Simply going to our data. What you and I have published, they put it together. And she's using it to propose and project what the future of Africa is going to be in a country where you and I are, without ever being to the country. These technologies are not only reshaping science, they are redefining how value is created, how problems are solved, and how societies progress. That is what we are talking about. Now, I have a note on innovation, and if you are conversant with my slide, this is a masquerade. Not because I love masquerade, but because also my name is also means masquerade. Or Congo, if you know very well from some state of it's called what? Masquerade. Now, but as growing up as a child, we always be told that now means you don't stand in one place to watch a masquerade. The world is a dancing masquerade. If you want to understand it, you can't remain standing in one place, as said by Tina today in the Arrow of God. So also innovation is a masquerade. It is constantly changing, constantly in motion. But quite unfortunately, we still have people among us who believe that it was in the beginning. So shall it be, so shall they continue to be forevermore. But know this, that is something constantly changing. Now, despite the remarkable discoveries that are emerging daily from laboratories, too many innovations die as well, journal articles. There are this group, especially from Asian countries. All they are waiting for you is to publish. They know that we are from low-income countries or poor area where government does not sponsor publication, and they will advertise. If you can submit before 26th of March 2026, to publish free. And how excited we are because we are going to save money. You carry a discovery, publish. All they are waiting for you for that publication to drop. They will take that your discovery, patent it in their country because patency is country bound. You cannot arrest somebody in Canada for using your work or patenting your work in Canada. You can only go after somebody in Nigeria who has taken your patent. So countries are limited in how they chase patency outside their country. All they are waiting. This idea also dies at thesis. If we go back, if not for the policies that universities begin to put in place that before you graduate, you must publish 2 papers. You see that there are many theses that I don't want to mention them, but someone will know what I'm talking about. Till the point they were to become professor, they have not published a single paper from their thesis. And they graduated in 1984 when I was in primary school. That was when they got their PhD. No single publication from their thesis. Wonderful thesis, but those ideas dies in that thesis. Also in conference proceedings, they never translated into tangible products or societal impact. You can see the apple I put there. This apple that we buy 700 or 1,000, depending on how they're selling it, was a concept that related to apple phone. They just look at apple. Everyone loves apple, different colors of apple. And I'm sure, I think the last time I know was 18. I don't know, Pro Max has come out, maybe 19 or maybe 20. Different coming because of somebody took that knowledge and translated it to what? Product or societal impact. This gap between knowledge creation and value creation is a gap that we must bridge, and that's what we are talking about today. Now, how do we bridge this innovation gap? You can see everything that is in that place, like a network, like a web, is just about innovation. You can see how they bridge it by putting it together, like a network, from laptop to phone to iPad to everything. The work, what is the societal relevance of our research? Research must demonstrate how it addresses real world challenges and benefit society in the knowledge economy. I was sharing with students on Tuesday, on Wednesday. My supervisor gave me a part of her PhD work. We tried, it didn't work. She cancelled that one. Gave me another part of her work. And that thing was asking me, even somebody that's from a poor home, which you don't know how to pay school fees, how to went to school. I have to travel from all the way from Ibadan to go and look for one professor in biochemistry in the University of New York. I've not been to New York before, so I entered night bus. In the morning, I was already in New York. Getting there, the same professor has just retired since how many years ago, how many months ago. That was how my hope was dashed. I returned back, she cancelled. She said, okay, go and walk on water. She was the one who said, go and walk on 4 samples of water. I went judiciously, walked on the sample, wrote my project. A week to defense, she cancelled the whole thing, said, go back to that. So she increased the water from 4 to 8. So I now look and say, what will I do not to go back to this woman again? So 8 samples on my own, I added this racket, making 16 samples. She asked me to work on molecular difference. I added Computational procedure to want to see how we can purify water by remediation using plant extract and not chemicals. So when we finished, I sent it to the Senate examiner without her signature. And I was in my house because the day of defense, we don't know we are going to defend. So I'm not on the first day, my name always go up, my name always fall on the second day. So when they sent for me, called the phone number, I was so poor that I don't have DSM number. They now called sent for me, I came back casually to school. Lo and behold, what happened? They sent an examiner, Professor Niji from the came into my school and asked HOD, who is her uncle? That sent signal every. She now asked HOD why she was still standing beside her car. Is this a PhD work or a PhD project? That was the only first time my supervisor looked at my face and said, wow. I was told that it's still not expressing your work. But why did I bring that story? That same work that suffered those cancellation solved the problem in Asia where I had to give them the right, copyright approval to produce my project into pamphlet. Over 5,000 copies as at that time, this is 2004, to be circulated in the whole Asia. And royalty will be paid to me from whatever accrued from that place, even as a student, as at that time. Now, because the project created a problem of which is water. The relevance of our research also matters most. Professor Abu, that just retired in my panel, will have to see me one day and ask him now, come. This is your ranking, I've checked your ranking every year. I talk as the number one scientist in the whole university. Now he now discovered that one of the ranking, one of my papers that is highly cited among them is the one I work on water, not even on virus. I say because water is a major problem globally. It does not go off freely. And that's why they keep citing it, and the citation keep going higher and higher and higher because it's solving a world challenge. Number two, we must pay attention is technology-driven innovation. Whether we like it or not, no matter how you detest it, artificial intelligence has come to stay. Data science has gone from what you know to another thing. Everything is automated. If you land in some country now and you have what they call your global traveler, you don't even need to be on the queue to even pass the port authority. Just go there, the machine is there, scan your passport, scan everything, without interpreting with a human being. They can interact with you and you go. These days now, even in Nigeria, they say working that in Lagos airport. Just take your boarding pass, scan it, the door opens for you, and you walk in. These are ultimately about innovation-driven technology. And they are rapidly accelerating global innovation and shaping industries. Nigeria's opportunity for transformation is another thing we must look at whenever we are designing work, if it must get to the market. Nigeria can transform from what we call a consumer to a creator, contributing actively to African innovation economy. When we had Fulbright conference in Port Harcourt last year, the US embassy came and there was this lady who paraded her product. You know what she was doing? She was, if you watch where in Port Harcourt now, you see people carrying buses, carrying every abandoned tire. And from all organizers, they know that they're cleaning the environment, they're not cleaning the environment. It's a contract they have received to make sure that all the used tire are taken to that lady. She will not use that used tire. She will use it to do upholstery. She will use it to do sandals. She will use it to produce shoe. These are going from waste, what we call waste to what? To wealth. That's what we should also be thinking about. Now, one of the things about research in action is that your research must give room to translating science into global health impact. We didn't start with what you see on this picture. We started where we were using petri dish. Not even disposable, where you wash. Like my lab there in my school. Before you enter lab to do your project, you must buy 300 breakable plating dish, 300 test tube, and as you are living, even when you are not in project, you are not going with it. That becomes university's property as you are living. We have come from there where you can now be able to, with things you use in meals, you can use in microliters and everything, and get that. From the humble beginning, we said that people who were scouting for what to do, we got a digital flag, and that's the flag of Harvard University. And that was where I received one of my first awards in HIV research in 2015. And we are only 3 black that was in that place, and that's the 3 that were in that picture. Also looking at how your research can also translate science into global health. Now the part 1, the foundation, why research must be new and purposeful. Why research must be new and purposeful. The role of research in this lab to wealth, lab to market cannot be overemphasized. Research plays a pivotal role in advancing knowledge by uncovering new insights, discovering theories, developing theories for addressing societal problems. The HIV receiving advocating today was by the accidental child. I got Fulbright, and I said, because those days where I did assign my PhD, the least person that did his PhD there spent 12 years. Another person spent 15 years. Another one spent 13 years. It was the only one that has grant that spent 6 years. And the rest, you can count how it is. And not everybody that said PhD there finished because of either resource constraint or principalities and powers. So human beings have made themselves principalities and powers, even when resources is there. Now, I was going to do a work on dengue virus and the West Nile. The witches and wizards from my village gathered and said, this sample must not go to New York. So FedEx that is very good in shipment destroyed almost all my sample. And the white man told me, said, no, this sample cannot. And then suddenly they now saw a sample that was in a nylon. And that was a sample one of my students brought from Ebonyi State, Abakaliki, to do his work on Epstein-Barr virus in my lab. And as a matter of policy, once you come with any sample, you must leave it there for verifiable things. So when I was done, I carried it because it's HIV sample. And that was the only sample that made it to New York. The white man said all other ones discard. And I said, no, you will not be idle. Why you are still waiting for a new sample? Can you start something on this? Let's see what the HIV look like. You can see also the witches and wizards again from my village also came up again. No sequences was working. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, we used reagent, it wasn't working. It wasn't working. And I came back and I want to go and check, and I saw that those who did the work, and I said, this is America. Nigeria is tropical country, America is temperate country. So that means the optimization we are using for American sample may not work for tropical sample. So that's how we change the cycle and change all this. That was how I got the first sequences. The man said, send it for sequences. We sent it, and he came back with a subtype of HIV that has not been reported in Nigeria. The man became curious. He said, can you do more? We also did again, we saw F2. From F2, we saw A1, F2. From there, we saw O2, F2. They are not common diseases. Those are classified as unique recombinant forms of HIV. So he now asked me, how far is where you are from Cross River? From Cameroon, because that's where Cameroon is the epicenter for HIV again. So when I told him about the porous border, that's how I'm the first in Nigeria to work in that lab, and the first who tried to work in that seminar. The grant they had is only for Cameroonians. That was how they now incorporated us into that grant. That's how we was continuing pursuing the HIV grant. Because why? New insights were uncovered. And that is one of the things we will research on. There are two critical points of impact that research are. Number one is novelty, and that one is research gap. Those of you who are doing your project, you are doing master, they always ask you what is the gap in knowledge? What is the research gap? What is the novelty? These two questions are always common because they are the two critical components. Now, research novelty, when we hear it, it's only one word. What one word comes to your mind? Some say it must be something new. Some say it must be this. But novelty is also depends on how you define novelty. I remember as a poor boy growing up, I've never entered Nigerian flight before. So I graduated from Madonna distinction. For 8 years, there was no job. So instead of job coming, in my own case, instead of job coming, I was getting scholarship. So that scholarship took me to Thailand for the first time, Bangkok, for a 13-hour journey. And somebody I'm not eating with 5 and spoon before, so I have to respect myself. Watch other side I'm eating before I can use the fork. I don't embarrass myself. So that's how I was learning, watch and see. And I was learning from the watch and see. Follow who know way. I was also following them and I got it. Now, where my poster was, this poster there. My own poster says isolation and detection of enteroviruses from directed cardiomyopathy patients. Beside me was one young man, very young. He was talking about molecular analysis technology or something. So out of curiosity, I walked up to him and said, is this your PhD work? He said, no, I'm still in my command level. I said, command level of what? He said, undergraduate. So, intellectual companies of Pythagoras setting. I am carrying cultural virus come and talk, and a student who have been graduated from undergraduate was talking about molecular. So I just used that and shifted away from my poster. So I went to stand somewhere. Now, Dr. Martin's daughter came from WHO. So me and him are met there. He's from Ebonyi State, but he worked with WHO. He's outside the country. Then I say, hey, where is the post? I stood there and said one thing to him. I say, he looked at me, are you this college? I say, Kadabo. Molecular, and at EA level, I'm talking about isolation. So he now called me, he said, listen to me. He said, everybody must not do what is new. He said, while others are working on what is new, others will be validating on what others have confirmed. Whether novel or validation, everybody is working. That was encouraging what he gave me. Damian from Cameroon now told me, say, but why did the West give you this kind of topic in this age and time? And he said, can't you work on HIV? Even if already is working on HIV, why can't you work on HIV? I said, we know I came from an environment where once a supervisor is in this area, no others will cross in that area. So once you pass, by the virtue of who you fall under, you already began a journey of problem, the same God delivers you. And that was how we were away from that HIV side. But you see that what must be, must surely be. Even years later, we still came back to what we were stopped from doing. Now, what is the sign of it? Look at the three areas. Innovative theory, providing a fresh perspective, or a new theory, or a unique application to something. That's not it. It can be new method. You can develop a new way to measure something, to analyze or apply that. It can also be in form of interdisciplinary action, talking about taking a concept from one field, example AI, to solve a problem in another field like biology. That's what brought in together bioinformatics, using the application of computer, knowledge of statistics, and using it in a biological specimens. So that is what novelty is all about. There's nothing we are doing on this earth that nobody has never done before. But it is novel to you because you may be the first doing it in that area or locality where you came from. Now, why does research novelty matter? It matters because it helps to advance knowledge. And if you must attract funding and recognition, you must do something that is novel. Now, like I always tell people, I said, I am somebody who doesn't bother about deadline. All the grants I've ever received in this life always come after deadline has passed. One, the HOD in my family, they never liked me. So any memo that has to do with HIV, you will not go into my pigeonhole. But if God has made anything for you, he will still find you. So one day, one professor was just passing, God, I was even beside the road. He started letting me and see Dr. Clinton was just came and said, hey, there's something I have in my file, can't bring it. I was like, I said, where do you get this memo from? He said, was it not in honest? I came to school, I didn't say memo. He said, take it. And I opened that memo. That submission is to end by 11:59 of that day. And that was when they were calling for a grant submission on HIV. I just did all that is humanly possible. Pick all the cottonelle and everything, and just by 11:56, I submitted that my name had been said that those who have submitted before 11:59. Only a month after, the letter came. He said the reviewers found their research awardable if only you can take 1 month to overhaul the proposal. What was I proposing? That time, if you don't have PCR or CD4 count machine, you can't monitor what HIV patients are going through. And I was proposing about, why don't we use a ELISA machine? There's an antigen in HIV called P24 antigen. Why don't we try to use P24 antigen to indirectly monitor how a patient is progressing in treatment? Because the higher the P24, the higher the viral load. The lower the P24, the lower the viral load and higher the CD4 count. So in the absence of PCR and in the absence of CD4 patient, you can actually know whether the patient is doing well or not. And that was how that grant was given. Because it looks old method in some places, but it was something new to us. That same research was what also gave me the Fulbright fellowship that I went for. Because it will attract funding and attract recognition. It also, why innovative matters most is that it helps for your professional growth and the like. Now look at the global cases. Some years back, nobody knew about CRISPR. CRISPR just came up. CRISPR gene editing. All these autism patients, all these Even sickle cell, they can check why is the womb. They can even administer treatment, CRISPR editing. That was how the thing was coming up, and everybody was still into it. Today now is one of the leading technology known as CRISPR gene editing. You can remove, you can even select the cells of a child, of any baby, even while they are not even well formed, even at the egg level. Now, what's the innovative element in that place? This technology introduced entirely new mechanism for gene targeting. They brought about editing also, far more precise and efficient than anything before it. That's the innovative element it has. The impact is that it is pioneering potential genetic cure and has expanded the boundaries of medical and medical research overnight. Just like somebody who is watching a black and white television and suddenly turn to color. Wow, that is how overnight that thing happened. Now, we also came up, this my international recycling. When I got there, they were focusing on Cameroon sample. And then I was the first one to introduce the Nigerian sample into that lab. And then what are we looking at? We are looking at the new emerging strengths and recombinant hotspots that exist in these two countries because of the close boundary. No Nigeria has a close boundary with Cameroon. So anything enters and anything goes. So there's this mutual exchange. The same environment where we don't even no check. It's only the people they say, come down, speak Igbo, speak Hausa. That's the only way we check whether you're Cameroon or not. And thereabout. We also look at the area of characterizing the global HIV hotspots. And that has also given us a lot of grant with our team in New York. You can also look at the case of Madonna University. What is the case? The philosophy department, they come up with what they call existential logotherapy method, being advanced by Professor Beresima. What is the very key element of it? It is called the Philosophy Clinic and Human Development Center, ECADC, where they train people in creative thinking, critical reasoning, and logotherapy. Something new, that's an innovative component of it. What's the impact? The impact is that it improves students' academic performance and equip individuals to confront existential challenges and consciously make meaning out of them. What's supposed to be a challenge now becomes something, a useful tool to have hands on. That is one of the cases about talking about novelty. Now, going to the area of research gap, which is the component of research. A research gap is an area within a field that is unexplored. If it is unexplored, it is underexplored or unresolved. They will explore it, but it's unresolved. A question that is not yet answered. A problem that is not yet solved. A perspective that is not yet considered is what we know as research gaps. Now, identifying research gap is essential if we must get into this market. For developing meaningful and impactful research that advances knowledge and addresses real-world problems is very key. Now, how do we identify research gap? One of them is what we call literature review. Systematically reviewing existing journals, theses, and conferences better. Looking for the future research station. But we may have a little bit of a problem now because of the unethical use of AI. Where someone will not tell AI, give me 100-page dissertation or thesis or project with 50 references. And AI will create even references that never existed anywhere in any database. I went for a science examination somewhere. This student, one of the names in his reference is Okonko and John 2024. And the virus he mentioned, I've never worked on that virus. So I became curious. I said, which of the Okonko are you talking about? So I asked the question. That is one of the problems of the AI. Even the AI is even more honest than most money. AI will tell you even after you are done, he said, please note that ChatGPT can make mistakes. Still confirm. Still what? Confirm. Which means that he uses our own knowledge to build his own intelligence. So you can't solely rely on it. Now, also, DPC also mentioned when we were talking, you have to consult the expert. There is no shame in consultation. I don't know this. My student is working in this area. How can it does not make you less of a person. Engage with professors, engage with mentors, engage with industrial professionals, ask them what problems that need solving. They will help you. And you can also use AI tools Use the platforms like what we call Research Rabbit. Those ones are AI platforms that is not. What we are against is what we call generative AI. Generative AI, those ones generate. You didn't enter lab, no work, no this and that. Say, give me this, and you give it to you. Format it very well. If I give it to you according to Madonna format, you bring it up back, and the student carry it about. You can use Elicit or Site to analyze literature, trend, and discover gaps. These are really good AI tools that you can actually use. Another one is also QuickBooks, and many others are exhausted. Also, you cannot overlook consultation with the expert. The actual reason for conferences and workshops is not that you can't have traveled to overseas and come back. I went for an award in 2019 in Miami, Florida. And guess who I met there? I've only read that in the book. We have only cited it in paper. This man here, Dan, is man called Gallo. Gallo was the one who discovered HIV. He worked in lab and they came up with the virus. So we have been reading that in history, but I've never met the person first. Remember, I just said, is it the Gallo? I had to run with him. I said, sir. I asked question, why question? I said, please, I said, give me the camera. So you can enter history that I have met the one who discovered HIV as a etiological agent for AIDS. Now, the other one up is what we call Anthony Fauci. He is the one that invented chemotherapy of HIV. HIV chemotherapy. So it was nice meeting them in those conference. I have to go to them and say, I did that, and we exchange contact. And that has in one word also contributed to my whatever you see me doing today in the HIV research. That is still talking about translating science into global health impact. Now, key areas of relationship. You don't just snap picture to show, I have snapped with the white, I've done this, I went to conference here. No. You must look at the key areas of relationship. Many of us have problem with keeping relationship. There's no pride in what I call ignorance. The worst ignorance is that you don't know and you don't want to know and you don't care to know. When you meet people, what are you looking at? Look at the gap-driven novelty of your work. I discover you have done a lot in this area. Can you be of help to my students in this? Can you be of help to that? What are the area of relationship you can methodological innovations? A student wants to do a work in area you don't have the equipment. You look for those who have that equipment. And go, that is where collaboration also comes in. New applications of old theories. We can't keep reproducing old things, but as a way you can apply those old theories into the contemporary area, and it will also help us. Now, the perfect relationship. There's a perfect relationship between research novelty and research gap. Gap equals to what? Opportunity, and novelty equals to what? Solution. You identify the research gap. That means the where. Example, no one has studied this bacteria in this region. What's novelty? Novelty means the what. You bring that the what of that research, which means using a novel genomic sequencing method to analyze it. Now, addressing the gap alone isn't enough. Novelty requires offering unique contribution. Yeah, people can define gap, but it's not just enough. When you have identified that gap, you must bring their novelty to offer unique contributions. So that's why you see the cycle. What goes around comes around. Comes around. Now, what is the key word? Let's innovate in research. You can actually innovate in your research. The urgency now is to bridge the gap now. Don't wait till tomorrow. What are the gaps to bridge? What are the evolving needs? The new knowledge economy demands that research demonstrates societal relevance and translational value. That is the urgency we need to bridge now. The computational intelligence landscape is also the gap that needs to be bridged. Artificial intelligence, data automation, accelerating innovation on a global scale, reshaping industry is one of the landscape gap that needs to be bridged. The Nigerian innovation opportunity is also another gap. By bridging this gap, Nigeria alone has the potential. I remember when it was very hard for me to live in this place. Because about that place, everything tissue culture is available, you can culture virus. Because anytime you grow virus in lab and it grows, you'll be so happy. You will celebrate, do Thanksgiving. At least your virus has grown. You're able to select virus, so you can be able to study this virus. But living there, going to Port Harcourt, where I don't know where to start from. was a major decision to make. But something just told me, he said, what if Port Harcourt is a virgin land to explore? And thank God for the 7 vice chancellor in the court. Immediately I came, I requested for a license, I requested for PCR. I said, for me to come, I need this equipment. And I have not understand the police of the system that BC does not approve anything above 2.5 million. So I got the license machine. That one explained because they were less than 2 million. The PCR, I went to model PCR and the sequencer together. And the budget or whatever. Audit sent it back and said, please, it's above the vice chancellor limit of approval. But the politics was that I should have taken that paper and go and dismantle it to two. One paper this year, another paper sequencer. That's the reason why I don't have sequencer, but I have it this year. Because I didn't understand the politics of the system. And after that VC, I don't think there's any VC who will invest so much on equipment than that man, for that man. Why I'm still making noise today, why I can still raise my shoulder high, because I got that equipment. That's why I was fascinating from Ibadan, where there's so much equipment coming to a place that is unknown. And that's why most of the virus you see we reporting for River State, we are the first actually working in those areas and the whole of South because they were novel area on 10 ground that have never been explored. Now, the core challenge is a new mindset. We need a new mindset if we must go into this from lab to market. What is a new mindset? It has to do with our attitude. You can see the cycle. The brain is busy. New mindset is on top, and attitude. On the right is new toolkit. On the right again, down there is what we call the new data set. Then new skill set. Then new commitment to partnership and collaboration. Let me say something here. One of us in my school where I'm coming from got a grant, got a what we call seed lab. All the equipment at seed lab will be supplied. But university will pay for the shipment. And the VC said, where will the money come from? That's why that person lost the whole equipment. Lost the whole equipment. When I was living in New York, returning back to Nigeria, they gave me an electron microscope that they are about to go and anything they don't use, they discard. So once a PI is living there, all the PI will pick what you want to be allowed. So nobody pick that electron microscope. I was so excited to say I want to carry it to Nigeria. They say if you can pay for this shipment, and the then piece you have there is someone that you will not even talk to. Before you even send it, I didn't tell you why you came and summarize it for you. And it was a big deal, because that's how I lost that electron microscope. If the university or the management cannot commit to partnership and collaboration, there's no way this market also can be achieved. Now, we have also moved from what we call the slogan in academic was publish or perish. Everybody is working for promotion. And I need paper to join what I have to get to the next level. That was all the mindset. But there's a new mindset that has come. Why don't you, instead of going from publish to perish, we are now from publish to what? Patent, publish, produce, and do what? And prosper. Which means you can actually prosper from your research. We must change our pedigree. We must publish and perish was the first thing. Now today what we are looking for a new model to track the harvest of innovation. Why am I saying this? But don't think I have so much money. Most of the grants I got is not that I went and looked for grant call and apply. They will always search me. I got a call, I thought it was fraud. And they said, please, we want you to be the country rep on HIV 24. They are testing the agreement in Europe. So I said, okay, I said, can we do a Zoom meeting? They agreed. I don't have a good office that time, so I went to borrow my friend's office in the School of Business Studies. I said, please, I beg. I said, but stay in the meeting as part of my team. So when the meeting, the call came up, I saw they were not fraud. From there, they said MOU, we signed. Before you know it, they sent another thing assigned. But every MOU you want to sign, you need to be very careful because these people are also smart. They wrote there, after that, I asked them, what about the publication coming from there? As much as the pay is good, the money is good, publication is also key to show that you have actually worked on that. They returned it back and said it's only they will sample from us are positive. I said no. Whether positive, because I'm not there to know whether it is positive in your testing or not. So before we now agree, that MOU took us time to do that. There are many things, sometimes they will ask you, okay, please, can you complete this questionnaire? It's not free. It's some of the questionnaire you finish, they will pay you as much as $100, some $60. They may give you a gift card that you can use to pay for journals online. because that is what the pedigree of what we call the harvest of innovation. And I'm praying that all of us will key into that. Now, from little beginning, you can see how the lab, where I came from blue lights. Our lab is built in a way that everything must be chemical, that's the bench for chemical, which is not suiting the modern day technology. That's from where we said, doing nothing. The second picture is where we now got to where Fulbright. Then from Fulbright, you can see the accolades of award coming. That is harvest of innovation. I'm just telling you, not to brag here, but to show you that you can actually go from research. Not these things are not with university people. It is sometimes from university want to restrain from even making some commitment. But Fulbright will tell university that you must sign, because it's a bilateral thing, you must sign that while this person is with us there, the salary will still be running. And that's where the university comes in the partnership. So that is from humble beginning, where we said the giant stride we have achieved today is out of persistence. Don't lose hope, we'll get there one day. Also, translating science into global health impact. These are different areas, different platforms that ordinarily, as a person, I won't get there. One grant will give room to undergrad will give room to undergrad. And let me shock you a little bit. I went to Tanzania and I met a Nigerian, the only Nigerian at that time, who was among the global grant and explorer. That grant at that time was $1 million. And I was applying, so I was so close. His name is Professor Koku. So I met him and said, Prof, sir, please can you go through my proposal? He said, okay, sure. So we sat at the back like this, while he went through it. By the time he done with my proposal, I knew that there was no possibility, but there was nothing inside the proposal. When he finished all the whole screen, he's still everywhere. We noticed that everything has red pen everywhere. So I kept it, and I became curious. Now, when I stumbled on Professor Omleri, the then VC of photo that died in an aeroplane crash, I discovered that that man was the product of Omleri. And before Omleri's death, Omleri has supervised 40 PhD holders, and 32 out of that 40, we are 32, we are professors already. And those who are not professors were either DG, minister, everything. And this Akokun was, and I said, that's something rubs off on something. Who you follow matters most, how you be able to translate into the market area. Now, both the university, both researchers must go from publish or finish mentality to what we call patent, publish, and produce. What are challenges of change of mindset? We publish and perish, that's why we never prosper. So we must, that made us to become what we call intellectual slaves to journals and the technology companies, because we want to publish all and then perish. We also have challenges of digital era of big data. I met a girl as of 2015 when I was debating how to go about my PhD after severe frustration. She had done every aspect of molecular, including DNA utilization, gene expression. She has so much data. The white man in that picture I showed before, now I told her that these data are so much that she just pick a particular part of that data and write up. That one thing is about to have data, but to write up the data is an issue. So we dispersed from that meeting. When we came back again in 2017 for another meeting again, she had not finished her PhD. By the time I finished my PhD, even as I talk to you now, she had not finished her PhD because writing had been the problem. So handling big data is also a problem. And that's why the digital era has come to help us. Intellectual assets and profiles and other challenges, and that thing that will help us to go from publish or perish to patent, publish, and produce. What are we advocating? You must patent your work first before you publish. Because if you don't patent it before publishing, the publishers and other people, they will take your work and patent it for you, and their own will no longer be innovative. Now, patents, license grants, startup income from royalties, shares, grants, they all enhances academic productivity. It also gives what they call contribution to the schools and the social development of the school and also the state. Our intellectual harvest is our pride. The role model university must center on this getting to the commercialization of research findings. Now we are in the new age of knowledge, which is the fourth industrial revolution. That's where we are. We are in a new knowledge society characterized by the digital age and big data. Artificial intelligence and automation is taking over. The confluence of emerging technologies is also taking over. A signature tool like going green, digital transformation is the area where we are. And this requires education 4.0. What is that education 4.0? Education that is fit for industry 4.0. Equip with digital skills. That's the area where we are. Also, this new age also is talking about connection. What do you make with the connection that you have? Don't look down on anybody. The person you look down today can be of help to you tomorrow. You're looking at cooperation. We're also looking at collaboration. Looking at the community. America believes so much in giving back to the community. And whatever you get, you must give back to the community. We also have one of the SDG 17. That's the from the world WHO United Nations SDG. Talking about culturalism, partnership, and platform digitals. Very important. We also see what they call the triple helix plus and developmental model. Now, after the COVID-19, we now enter what we call post-pandemic future of work. No life has remained the same since the advent of COVID-19. So that is also what we also need to look at. Which means there's, from the structure you see there on downward, we're talking about an interface between the academia, industry, and the government. And that will also help employment and benefit of this. Also, in the age of knowledge and knowledge economy, what new product can you take to the knowledge market? Digital platform market, through research, creativity, and innovation, is one of the ways you can also get there. You can see the policies, processes, and procedure, development of ISO standards. Most of the ISO lists, most universities now are going to ISO. We have gone through SON, we have gone through NUC that we know, gone through that. Now, some universities are going to work with international standard organization, where they come and certify some lab or whatever within the university, which is also help the university to be on the global map. We also have technical technology, software applications, goods and services database, documentary, conference tourism, and then other like even creative product like drama. Nothing is any drama you put now can trend through social media. So we must find a way of putting everything we're in that is on the good side. It will also help the image of the researcher and the university as a whole. Now the question is, what is this computational intelligence we're talking about? Only three things. Note it: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science. You cannot overlook these three. That is the era where we are. The engine of AI is helping to find patterns and massive data sets without being a specific program. You need to program it. Even the SPSS we're using before, you can just put it as if you come out without even looking for SPSS. Now, this computational intelligence has accelerated lab to market. And what are the features of it? You have simulations and digital twins. Simulations and digital twins help model complex systems. They also help in reducing prototype costs and speeding up development. Now, AI-powered predictive model is also at work. Many labs also work on automation and then market forecasting, and that will also help us. Now, what are the CI case studies? We have drug discovery. We have what we call AlphaFold, known as DeepMind. This will be relevant to those in the pharmacy who into drug production. They research that for 50 years now, determining the 3D shape of any protein, we defined this function was so slow, and only expensive lab processes that it go through. But with this computational age now, Google came up with what they call the Google's DeepMind trend on AI, on a massive data of known protein. That's the impact. And what's market impact? You now have AlphaFold that can now predict the shape of nearly any protein with incredible accuracy in seconds. It has accelerated drug discovery, especially for cancer. The malaria vaccine we're talking about is also from there. Then you have antibiotic resistance, creating immense commercial value. Now, another one is agriculture. The CI is playing role in precision farming. What's the result? The traditional farming, which applies water, fertilizer, and pesticide uniformly across all the entire field, is leading to waste and environmental damage. Now, the computational intelligence has now come through AI. You can analyze data from drones and sensors and satellites. A researcher reached out to me and said they want to model all the pests, all the diseases of plants, so that once they use AI, they can detect even without necessarily going to the lab. That's what they are doing according to now. What's the market impact? There are startups that now sell systems that tell farmers exactly which plant needs water or fertilizer without necessarily wasting fertilizer, wasting water. You also tell them how to optimize crop yield. It also tells them reducing costs and creating new agri-tech market. You can see the picture there. That's a drone that is using to water irrigate a whole farm through AI without anybody controlling it. Another case study of computational intelligence in Nigerian fintech. The AI-driven financial service was a research. The research is how to provide credit and financial services to billions of unbanked Nigerians with no formal credit history. The example is MoneyPoint, OPay, and there are many loan. They say they don't need to open bank account, they can give you loan and everything, and they will know how to collect their money without necessarily opening bank and thereabout. What's the marketing part? This alone has created a unicorn company, financial inclusion, and a multi-billion-dollar market from a research body. So at least Nigeria has had something they have brought to the unicorn, which is this MoneyPoint and OPay. Though some of these politicians have moved away to also destroy this MoneyPoint and OPay because of their own personal interest. But it's one of the leading CI case studies that we all need to know. Now, lab to market gaps has its own challenges. Number one, the scarcity of early stage funding. Funding has always been an issue. Limited funding for early innovation startups. It makes it difficult to commercialize research and bring product to market. We also understand the intellectual property and technology transfer issues. Weak intellectual property protections and inefficiency transfer has also slowed down the journey from lab discovery to market. We also have collaboration and cultural barriers because nobody trusts anybody. You bring out the idea before they have gone. I remember one professor in those days when we were still a student. When he comes to examine your student for PhD, he will finish the work, blast the work, do everything about the work. While you are doing correction, you will carry a student and put in that work when the publication is already out from that. So these are the challenges that has affected this lab to market gap. Another one is also infrastructure and regulatory challenges, where regulatory authorities and also help to slow down them. Now, how do we leverage this lab to market? Innovation is the key. Research is the transformation of money into knowledge, while innovation is the transformation of knowledge into money, which means they add value with high return on investment. Now, the 21st century university mission, every university engaged initially on two things, teaching and research. R&D just came up as from back at 2013. We started talking about research and development. Some added research and innovation. Now, the third thing which has been added to university mandate is entrepreneurship. Everything you are doing must find a way to translate that knowledge into wealth and through other things. So the entrepreneurial university is a third mission for universities, which means transformation of knowledge into wealth or value. Teaching and learning is not just enough. Research and development is not just enough. After you have done that, you must find a way to get into entrepreneurship, products and ecosystem, and also sustainable development. Now, the framework for this activity is what they call the triple helix. This triple helix is talking about new developmental model, which is an engine of modern innovation ecosystem. It describes the essential interconnected partnership between three key actors, who are the academia, the industry, and the government. So these three, they are the key principal actors. So whatever you do, government also has a way to play which controls the market. Now, the goal of becoming an entrepreneurial university, now these are what they call the unicorn universities. These are the top universities, the unicorns, that have the largest company as spin-offs from their research. The leading company there is Stanford, followed by Harvard, followed by University of California, followed by Indian Institute of Technology. India, we were looking down on before, is at the top there. Followed by MIT, followed by University of Pennsylvania, followed by University of Oxford, followed by the Israeli University, followed by Cornell University. They have University of South Africa, Southern California. Up to that, these are the major unicorns. That India alone has over 100 billion, while Nigeria has only 3, but only one, which is MoneyPoint, is actively in the unicorn class of that. Now, in every discipline, there are unicorns. Collaborative research will produce more if we emphasize that. And there's no department that does not have a unicorn. So if we engage in collaborative research, we will produce more unicorns. These are the major academic major finders of unicorns all over the world. Like I said, entrepreneurship, education, and research plays a key role. Now, we need to learn from some ranked entrepreneurial universities with innovation ecosystem. How did they do it? These are where our management also comes in. Some universities will go and learn how do they do this, how did they do that. US entrepreneurial university model is one of the things that all universities are following at the moment. These are the model, and that is now. Like I mentioned, one of the role models is Stanford University. They have done this for over years and they are still doing more. Alone, we have the Caltech Innovation. They have over 130 startup companies alone that was produced out of research and it's still existing. In 2016 alone, they have 229 invention disclosures. They have 196 US patents issued. They have 9 startup companies formed, and they have 67 licenses executed, and they have over $23 million US as contract for one university alone, not from government. So these are the companies of Caltech Innovation at a glance, under them alone, produced from research. You also have the spin-off companies, 136 IGGF5, and many of them. Another university is the University of College London. This one from lab, they acquired for $477 million acquisition alone through research. In 2023 alone, they acquired this figure I mentioned. It was the result of decades of gene therapy research from 2 professors in that university alone, not even about 2 professors. And that's what has helped the company to manage their partnership. Another one is Cambridge University. The University of Cambridge is an entrepreneurial powerhouse. They have 1,600 plus firms that emanated from research. 30,000 people are employed by this firm in the region. And in a year alone, they have 13 billion pounds plus in combined revenue that come from that company. These are products from research. That's from lab to market. These are Cambridge companies at a glance. Oh, for there is more than one side, but I move a lot. So many companies alone from Cambridge as a result of research. This is also technology that emanated from research in Cambridge by different professors, and they get into the market. MIT, they had MIT. And the MIT had one of the highest Nobel laureate winners for years. Now, their own is about 1.5 trillion annually. That's what they generate through research. And roughly 60% of the entire UK's GDP, all generated from the ecosystem of a single university. So you can see that issue of lab to market. Now, as of 2023, Wednesday, the time higher education carries at the headline. For higher education institution inspired the same or among academic application as MIT, a global powerhouse for research, a spin-off app company of over about 1.5 trillion, about 60%. That's what you're saying in that headline from the institution alone. The email address is there if you want to confirm that. These are the portfolio from Oxford University. These are companies that came out from research from the same university. Now, the triple helix Nigeria came up also from there. Now, you see also from research academic entrepreneurship, South African University alone generates over 500 billion rand for the economy. From 26 public universities, each of them contribute about 500 billion and is equivalent to 26 billion US dollars in 2018 alone. In 2016 alone. Now, from university research academic entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem, each year university yield discoveries with commercial potential. So we need to start looking for a way how our research. Now look at the annual economic impact report. You can see many of the universities and how much. You can Google it online. You can see how these companies came from these universities. Now, for an entrepreneurial university, is a research-intensive university committed to creativity, innovation, commercialization, and entrepreneurship for sustainable development. Now, if this must be achieved, 25% of professors engage in professional activities with industry are involved in globally recognized and locally relevant research. Now, professors with industry experience, known and recognized by industry research, consultancy. We need to also go into consultancy if you must also. Then short courses. You can do short courses, a social diploma, the weekend diploma, executive diploma, and professional diploma. These are also one of the ways to take our lab to the market. Now, for lastly, as I conclude this, the how. What's the action plan for our university? How do we do this? We must look at people, that's the organization, look at the policies we make, look at the plans we have on hand, look at the programs we are doing, look at the project. If we don't have program that is exciting, that attract people, we may not still be there, even if we may spend how many years, or spend how many years. The building block of any entrepreneurial university is the structure. The structure, how the research and development board is. I think to thank God we said our ability to technology park, research institutes are the hardware for this. Policies, there must be clear policies on intellectual property. If not, people will not. There will be a lot of academic fraud going on. Then people, we must have committed faculty, entrepreneurial students and industrial experience mentors who are the users of these structures and policies. And that's how we can get that. So you can see there are some university have over any report they don't have has already key in like a Exputor, we have a C4, and many others has key into this spin-off thing. Now, what are the key pillars of application? As I mentioned, policies, culture and education, and partnership cannot be overemphasized. Now, a deep dive is that the patent published policy must be followed. What we mean by that, you must disclose whatever you feel has patent potential. You must protect that thing by filing and filling the form of disclosure, and then before you publish. When you have filed, you can publish. Once there's a record that you have filed for your patency, nobody can steal it. Law will be against the person, and then you produce within 12 months of your listing. Now, another deep drive is the technology transfer, what we call the IDT office, the publication office. They involve in IP management. We also involve market analysis. Licensing is also part of the IPDTO. Startup support and industry licensing, where you can liaise between companies and partners with university researchers to liaise with them. Now, the new building block for any entrepreneurial university is entrepreneurial professor. Enough is not, publication is not just enough. We must get into the place where people are rewarded, not just punished alone. Punishment is good, but we also find the method of trying to see how we can reward active researchers, and then people with also that can give us spin-off companies. We can also look into the area of postdoc, and then look into our PhD programs to see that they actually a program that have potentials for patency. Then students must be committed, and then that will help us to achieve that. Then the deep dive again is the expert in residency. The university will also look into the area of trying to see how they can have experts in residency, not just people who come to teach, but those who are into research and they call them expert in residency. When they come, they can undergo research, train people in those research, and then known as also the entrepreneur in residency is another one that can help us to get to this thing. So the impactful research has 4 fundamental elements, which is globally recognized, extensive collaboration, local relevant, and sustainable strategically. And the interdisciplinary cannot be overwhelmed. Now, innovation starts with the thesis. What are the missing chapters in our thesis? What can we produce from those theses? What are the beneficiaries? What are the value added from those theses? What is new, simpler, cheaper, or safer from what we are bringing from our projects? On and on and on. Now, one study, many outcomes can also help. You can do one study, patent it, publish it, produce it, and then prosper from it. And that's the goal that we are doing. Any creativity-led readiness in us must know we get to market faster. Once there is creativity readiness, it can take us to the market faster. These are outlines of how we can get into this. From patency alone, we can get like 8 to 16 maximum. We can even give ourselves a target that each department will produce at least one patency or 2 at a particular time. Before you know it, we're already there. Going from exchange to excellency is trying to see how you can be able to leverage on what you have to get that. So, a lot to say. So they didn't tell me the time before now, but they're giving me sign to round up. This is marketing research and the communication. How do you market your research? The university will also bring to also to our management to this thing. One of the ways to market what we do is that there should be an entrepreneurial magazine where you can get out what you are doing. Like this one now is an entrepreneur magazine. We also have so many. The research and innovation can also produce a kind of a newsletter where if you don't market yourself, nobody will market you. And so you market all that the university is doing, what is on, people can be able to look into that. Marketing, research, and communication plan is very important to be able to achieve this lab to market. Entrepreneurial development, also the area of alumni and staff cannot be overruled. So our alumni should also be engaged into what they can to also have this student and staff interface, individual project, team project, and also have alumni startup and cooperatives and all those things. Now the future of this university lies are two things: looking back and looking forward. Look at the new discoveries we are going to do. What are we known for among our peers in academics and industry? What are we known nationally and globally? We must look at the area of our strength and emphasize it more. Before you know it, you're already there. And we can also look towards our convocation to not only just the convocation of graduates, it also comes to a convocation of spin-offs, where we are celebrating students who are graduated, we also celebrating companies, showcase technologies, exhibitions, so that in our convocation we can also have a vision of Madonna Braid, Madonna this, Madonna that, whatever that's coming on, convocation of spin-offs, where we celebrate what is emanating from the university. That's one of the ways to get to that. What are the takeaways as I round up? Please, next time, sir, we might give the present time, so the president can plan his slides on the time available, but I'm almost done. 1 minute or 2 minutes and out. In the computational intelligence era, discovery without deployment is incomplete. Knowledge without impact is unfinished work. These are takeaways I want to take home with. Let us build bridges and not burn the bridges. How do we build the bridges? We must build bridges between scientists and entrepreneurs, bridges between universities and industries, bridges between innovation and society. That's the way we can achieve this. Let us ensure that the algorithm we celebrate, the model we train, and the discovery that we do not, our discovery will not remain silent in the laboratory, but we must speak loudly in the real world. Management should also find a way of producing things where you can also send people that has creative work, innovative work to go out there and showcase, because when their name is registered there, it's not only the name of researcher, the university name is also registered out there. These are ways we can get there. Because when science meets entrepreneurship with purpose, innovation becomes transformation. Conclusion: we must change our mindset. We must change the pedigree from publish or perish to what? Patent, publish, produce, and prosper. We must also change the mentality that we can reap harvest of innovation opportunity, and we can transform into an entrepreneurial university. Charles Darwin said, it is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent that survives. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. We must find a way to adapt to the changes around us and make use. In acknowledgement, I want to thank, these are all the major funders, few of them that I was able to put scribe here, by the Fulbright, Bill and Melinda Foundation. If not for all these grants, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's my family, wonderful family. These are my students. And then that's my supervisor, who came to my office to pray for me. And when he came down to pray, and all the like. I can also forget that there is the marketing department of Madonna University. This was the first defense I partook when I came here as an adjunct. And if the then HOD did not market what I'm trying to say now, market, Madonna University would have also known there's somebody who was here as adjunct who has something to give to the university. That's one of the examples of marketing. Somebody has to market something before it can be discovered and thereabout. So now, these ones are not especially. The one on the red is my first PhD product. Now the one cutting care is a birthday. That was one of the person behind this slide you are seeing here. Whenever I finish my slide, I sent to her. She put all the finishing touches there because a tree cannot make a forest, and nobody is an island. And that's blessing. Blessing is my third PhD product. And thank God Madonna has harvested, and she too. These are my teams. Our teams in United States, New York University. So the goal home today is to collaborate, connect and collaborate, merge and entrepreneur university, finding creative and innovative solutions for sustainable development for school. Thank you. welcome.